Hello again, my dudes, welcome back to the channel. This is Kadima bringing you the final build for Black Myth Wukong. This is the build that I would recommend you guys use for New Game Plus, and also all the way until Chapter 5 of New Game Plus. This is the build that you get by the end of Chapter 6 in New Game, but once you initiate New Game Plus, this is still the best thing to use, at least until pretty much the end of Chapter 5. Let's take a look at the build. So the build is basically using Wukong set and our weapon, which is the Jingun Bang and the Golden Fang pieces of equipment. Also, when it comes to the Curious, I recommend having the J Moon Rabbit, the Golden Crow, and the Ember Prayer Beads. This will allow you for a nice amount of defense mitigation, a nice amount of damage output, and also a quick build-up of focus. Because when you use this setup, the idea is that you play in a specific way. When you finally complete New Game and you enter New Game Plus, you will unlock the centerpiece of the relics, which is the Freed Mind. And you must choose the Unified Minds. When the Destined One performs certain powerful moves, the duplicates will follow suit. Basically, in simple words, what this means is any combo finishers or any full focus heavy attacks, your duplicates will repeat it as well at the same time as you do. So using this setup, what you want to do is you want to do light attack combos. If you can do the finishers, even better, because all the duplicates will finish the move with you and hit the target for big chunks of damage. But once you build up focus completely, you want to use immobilize, and then you want to use full focus heavy attack, and all the duplicates will imitate you, and you will pretty much one-shot every boss that comes your way once you manage to build up enough focus to do this. Now, also what I would recommend is to keep the Weaver's Needle, because it increases your critical hit chance and your critical hit damage. But this is not the best build when it comes to the final stages of New Game Plus. When you reach New Game Plus, there's something else which is better than this. As you can see by my stats on the right side of the screen, and the ones that I want you to pay attention to is the attack at 167 and my defense at 545. But once you reach the Chapter 5 final stages in New Game Plus, you now have access not only to the Dark Iron Staff, but also to the Bull King's full set. And when you swap to this gear, by the end of New Game Plus, you can see that there's a nice increase of damage output, and I'm just going to refresh the equipment so you can see how it actually looks. Now I have 238 attack and 645 defense, which is much better. You will also have access to a fourth slot in the Curious, and what I do suggest that you equip is the Gold Spike Plate. This increases your defense considerably, but also because it increases your defense, it increases your attack as well. If I refresh the equipment one more time, you will see that now I have 243 attack and 677 defense. Now, this will be your best piece of gear and your best possible build to do the highest amount of damage and have the highest amount of defense as you progress through New Game Plus, all the way until the middle point in the game in New Game Plus Plus, which is Chapter 3. When you enter Chapter 3, you will now have unlocked at least 2 more relics, so your relics will look like this. You will have a combined total of 3, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 upgrades into your relic slots. And this means that no longer is this the best setup, as I'm about to show you. So we are going from 243 attack and 677 defense to, as we are about to see, as I change these pieces of gear, to 713 defense and 243 attack. If I refresh the equipment just to make sure it's everything in place, as you can see, it's actually 248 attack and 713. But by this time you will also have unlocked another Curious slot, and I do suggest that you put another Gold Spike Plate. If I refresh the equipment one more time, you now see that the final values are of 253 attack and 745 defense. This armor, which you can get at the end in chapter 6, as soon as you kill the Inquisitor, you now get your cloud, and if you just look behind where you just fought him, you can just go up the cliff and collect this armor set from a chest that is hidden there under a tree. I do recommend that you check a YouTube guide for finding this armor if you are struggling to do so. And basically what this armor does is that each new Great Sage's talent awaken increases the defense of this armor set. So when you reach chapter 3, you have now reached the stage where no matter how much more you progress, this will always be your best armor set when it comes to raw damage output and raw defenses. The staff, as well, as you can see, it goes to 253, and we are talking about values with no buffs at all. You also have to consider that by now you can easily be level 250, maybe more, maybe less, but around these numbers you are able to have the stat points in the right places when it comes to stamina, martial arts, and staff stances to boost your damage as you go along. As you manage to get perfect dodges, as you manage to land successive light hit attacks, you will increase your damage. So ultimately speaking, your values will only go higher than this as you progress in the game. When it comes to the Supreme Gourd and whatever Gourd you use, by the end of new game, you will have access to this Gourd, and I do recommend keeping it no matter what playthrough you are in. I'm using the Jade Dew, which is the highest recovery when it comes to maximum health. Each sip recovers 55% of maximum health, but these three are pioneer when it comes to staying alive without having any problems, removing the Bane states, and recovering small amounts of health even after using the Gourd. You want to have the Bee Mountain Stone, which considerably increases the chance of having a sip from the Gourd without consuming a use of it. And I can say that if I chuck the Gourd 10 times, at least 3 of them are going to be for free, which is amazing and definitely a must-have. The Graceful Orchid grants you a nice extra piece of health as continuous regen after you use the Gourd, and the Flower Primes are useful because it doesn't matter who you are fighting, you can get poisoned, you can get on fire, you can get frosted, and this will remove whatever Bane state you get. And this is pretty much it when it comes to the build and how to tackle New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus and make the most out of your game. I have been streaming for the past 5 hours today using this build, and the amount of damage I do to the bosses is absolutely insane. This is absolutely a must-have using the Unified Minds. Once you get this upgrade, it's a must-have, and with this armor set, it's just a ridiculous amount of damage. You can kill bosses in less than 30 seconds, no sweat, and I recommend you guys trying it yourselves. In any case, if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. If you haven't subscribed it yet, I ask that you consider doing so. And for my regular viewers, thank you so much for the continued support. This is Kadima saying goodbye to Black Myth Wukong, at least until a DLC pops out, if it does happen to be the case. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheerio!